As the Prime Minister targets the INDI bloc for lacking vision, he's also set a steep 400-seat target for the NDA. So is the INDI bloc in a position to halt the Modi juggernaut, or is the alliance divided like the Prime Minister seems to suggest? Here's what's happening across some of the very significant states. Uttar Pradesh, for example, a state that contributes 80 seats to Lok Sabha, just recently saw the RLD walk out of the INDI bloc to join the NDA. In Maharashtra, the second largest state in terms of seats, three top leaders of the Congress party, a former chief minister, exited the party to join parties in the NDA bloc. In West Bengal as well, Mamata Banerjee, remembers, decided to go solo. In Bihar, Nitish Kumar decided to call it quits with the alliance. The Congress has been facing problems with the Aam Aadmi Party. In Assam, Kejriwal's party named 3 candidates even before seat sharing was decided. In Punjab, the Aam Aadmi Party is going solo. In Delhi, the Congress is only being offered one single seat. If we just put these numbers together, viewers, it's confirmed there will be no seat sharing in states contributing at least 61 seats. There's no clarity in 3 states at the moment which contribute 75 seats. In Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, states that contribute 120 seats have seen key allies exit the alliance. So it's clear the INDI bloc really is struggling to get their act together in states that have a significant contribution to Lok Sabha. Naturally, the BJP backed the Prime Minister's attack and called out the INDI bloc, accusing the alliance of only furthering their family's agenda over that of the nation. The opposition soon hit back, asking why is the BJP breaking parties and trying to topple opposition-ruled governments if the Prime Minister wants to work for the nation and is truly confident of 400 पार.
और जो राजनीतिक दल हैं वो अपने वंश को बढ़ाते हैं. लालू यादव जी हैं अपने बेटे को मुख्यमंत्री बनाने के लिए, मुलायम सिंह जी बना दिए. अब इधर देखिए ममता जी अपने भतीजे को, स्टालिन अपने बेटे को. पूरे देश में जो ये गठबंधन है, इंडी गठबंधन, ये अपने परिवारवाद का है और नरेंद्र मोदी राष्ट्रवाद के प्रतीक हैं. तो कहां से दोनों का मेल खाएगा?
What is happening to the country? Why the secular democratic parties have come together? And there is an objective. The objective is to save the constitution, to save democracy, to save secularism, to save federalism, which BJP is trying to destroy everything. And what is the BJP regime is doing? Subverting the constitution and debasing all democratic constitutional values which we have been pursuing so far.
कांग्रेस इंडी पर है, एक एजेंडा है, परिवारवाद का है, जातवाद का है, मुस्लिम तुष्टीकरण का है, देश की एकता अखंडता तोड़ने का है, भारत का विदेश में बेइज्जती करने का है. ये उनका एजेंडा, मोदी जी का एजेंडा है कि सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास, और उसके साथ 2047 में भारत को विश्व गुरु बनाना.
अगर राष्ट्र को बनाने के लिए आए तो जो कुछ महाराष्ट्र के अंदर हुआ, पूरी पार्टी इधर से इधर कर दी, इसी तरह राष्ट्र बनेगा. जो कुछ मध्य प्रदेश के अंदर हुआ, एक पार्टी को तोड़ के अपनी सरकार बना ली, क्या ये राष्ट्र बनाने वाली बात है? क्या जो सड़कों पे बैठा हुआ किसान है वो रोज अपने मुतालबात रख रहा है, क्या ये राष्ट्र को बनाने वाली बात है?
The war of words continues. Let's quickly open this up with our guest joining us live at 9 p.m. We have Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, along with senior journalist Sameer Chaugaonkar. We also have with us spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Ghanshyam Tiwari, along with spokesperson of the RJD, Professor Anwar Pasha. But my first question is to political analyst Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Mr. Chaudhary, on one hand you have the NDA, and this with the RLDA on its side, Nitish Kumar dumping INDI, joining hands with the NDA. And then there are, of course, several other sitting on the periphery still talks underway. For example, Chandrababu Naidu. We'll have to wait and watch how that plays out. Akali Dal, of course, at the moment seems to be out of the picture, is what we're learning. The talks between the BJP and the Akali Dal so far have failed as per sources. But given that the Prime Minister's come out to say 400 par, ye dekhiye hamara number, ye dekhiye hamari strength, look at our unity, and this in stark contradiction to the INDI. Slowly, ally after ally abandoning the Congress party, dictating terms to the Congress party, no consensus on seat sharing and no consensus on PM face either.
Yeah, Christine, good evening. First of all, main point when you speak about Modi ji ka guarantee and Modi ji 400 par aayega to Modi ji and all those fancy dialogues, you know, they have coined a slogan a few years ago about Congress Mukt Bharat. All this 400 par, aapki bar 400 is also an opposition Mukt Bharat. Look at the way how they broke away parties like NCP, how they broke Shiv Sena, how they broke JDU of Nitish, and how they have been at every step of the democratic processes tried to subvert it, whether it be the Election Commission of India Act or whether it be the electoral bonds. The goal of the Bharatiya Janata Party and Narendra Modi government is to be in power at any cost, without considering what are the ramifications of an electoral democracy, whether we are duty bound to stay as an elected democracy or as an elected autocracy. The difference the BJP has to understand out here. But Christian, the most important thing that is coming out of all these alliances that are not coming through is the one single party, the Congress, which is standing between autocracy and democracy, and that is Rahul Gandhi who is leading the way.
And that's why,
for sure.
That's why, Mr. Chaudhary, people within the Congress are also abandoning the Congress party. Forget your allies. Forget everybody who decided to get together last year. This is June, July 2023 to fight the BJP in 2024. Forget all of them for a second. Talk about those who are saying that we're being sidelined. We're not being given our due. We're being ignored time and again. Ashok Chavan has quit. God knows it's going to be Kamal Nath and his son next. What about people from within your party, within the Congress party, who are abandoning the party slowly?
Prithveen, can I please come in?
I'm coming to you, Sanju. Just 30 seconds.
That is the question that I'm asking tonight. That's the question that I'm asking to you. Whether these party leaders which are leaving the Congress and joining the Bharatiya Janata Party like Himanta Biswa Sharma or Shubhendu Adhikari or an Ajit Pawar, or there are numerous of hundreds of Congress leaders who were accused by the BJP of corruption, now find a very safe haven in the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, what was the compulsion of Ashok Chavan? What was the compulsion of Ajit Pawar? What was the compulsion of Nitish Palturam? These are all questions that the Aam Janata is looking at. And Christian, mind you, there is a very big silent majority in the country which is opposed to the BJP, which is around 60% of the Congress population.
So it's got nothing to do. It's got nothing to do with the manner in which the Congress is functioning. The Congress must not introspect. The BJP is solely to be blamed. Sanju Verma, talk about what happened in Maharashtra with the several partners of the Mahagathbandhan, the Mahavikas Aghadi. What happened in Madhya Pradesh, how Jyotiraditya staged a rebellion, and how slowly there are leader after leader quitting the Congress party and joining hands with the BJP. They will not introspect. It's for you to take the blame.
You know, Prithveen, I used to earlier get agitated, but now when I hear the opposition panelists coming and saying that, you know, democracy khatre mein hai, samvidhan khatre mein hai, you know, I am amused, and I'll tell you why I'm amused. I remember when Navjot Sidhu left the BJP and joined the Congress, these very Congressies today who come and spew venom against Narendra Modi said, "Arey wah, Sidhu hamare paas aa gaye, sab changa si." Now there is talk that he may join the BJP, everybody's rattled. This is the same party which said there is no one who's better than Captain Amrinder Singh. The moment Amrinder Singh called out the bluff of Rahul Gandhi and said that he's pained that after spending 40 years of his political life in the Congress, he was treated so shabbily, the Congress said, "Arey Amrinder Singh se hamara kuch lena dena nahi hai." Then look at Milind Deora. What did Milind Deora say? Milind Deora said that not only him, but even his father Murli Deora spent his lifetime being a career Congress person. The moment Milind Deora left and joined Eknath Shinde, what did Jairam Ramesh say? Oh, one Milind Deora is not going to sabotage the Congress. Then look at, you know, the ex-Chief Minister of Karnataka, S.M. Krishna. For the longest time, he was a Congress person. After he joined the BJP, they said, "Arey S.M. Krishna se hamara koi lena dena nahi hai." My limited point is this: forget about senior leaders like an S.M. Krishna, or a Captain Amrinder Singh, or a Sunil Jhakar, who chose to discard the Congress. Let us talk about the younger lot. Let us talk about a Milind Deora. Let us talk about an Alpesh Thakur. Let us talk about a Hardik Patel. These are the younger lot who have also chosen to abandon the Congress. And do you remember, Prithveen, what did Hardik Patel say after he quit the Congress? He said Congress party is so leaderless कि ये 400 किलोमीटर चिकन सैंडविच खाने तो जा सकते हैं, but they will not travel 4 kilometers to listen to the woes of an ordinary Congress कार्यकर्ता on the ground. So when people sit here and say, "Arey, only 37% of India's electorate, believes in Narendra Modi, the balance does not believe in Narendra Modi," you're fooling yourself, because India believes in the first past the post system. Point number one. Point number two, there is nothing called an elected autocracy. There is only an elected government, and India is a thriving democracy. The Congress was wiped out in Madhya Pradesh, routed in Rajasthan, routed in Chhattisgarh, and the same political analysts were sitting today and giving a bhashan on Samvidhan and Loktantra and Ganatantra to the BJP. I remember, Kritswin, prior to the Madhya Pradesh results, the same political analyst said, "Arey, Ladli Behan Yojana is a big flop. Shivraj Singh Chauhan will be taught a lesson by the electorate. Arey, Rajasthan mein Ashok Gehlot is going to come back, because this entire narrative about lawlessness under Ashok Gehlot is a figment of BJP's imagination." And last but not the least, this is the same political analyst who said Chhattisgarh mein Bhupesh Baghel ne zabardast kaam kiya. We are going to come back. We will win more than 55 seats. And they were reduced to less than 35 seats.
Okay, I want Mr. Chaudhary to respond, but there's a follow-up question as well for you, Sanju. While, the Prime Minister speaks of how there is complete disalignment in the INDI bloc, he speaks of instability, so on and so forth. There are seat-sharing issues or no finalities in the NDA as well. If we talk about Maharashtra, the Shiv Sena is not quite clear on what lies ahead for them as far as the 2024 elections are concerned. Ajit Pawar's NCP also not quite clear. Where have talks with Chandrababu Naidu and others who we've seen in the national capital, what have they led to? We don't know. Talks with Akali Dal apparently also not working out. So there are issues that the BJP is also facing, but the Prime Minister says 370 to hum hi le lenge. Is that why the Prime Minister is so very confident? Where is this confidence coming from?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked me this question. Kritswin, let's be very clear. I'll take a small example of Odisha. I remember Odisha में चुनाव होने से पहले लोकसभा 2019. Remember in 2014 लोकसभा Odisha में BJP had got just one seat. And despite excellent relations that Naveen Patnaik and Prime Minister Modi enjoy, do you recall in Lok Sabha 2019 we increased our tally from 1 seat to 8 seats, and our vote share went up by almost 17% to 38%, and Naveen Patnaik's tally came down from 20 seats to 12 seats, and the Congress won just 1 seat. This is a classic example of how, when the media is not talking about the Modi juggernaut, it has quietly made inroads into places and areas that have been hitherto ignored. Point number one. Point number two, very quickly, I always say that the crux of an alliance and the strength of an alliance depends on who is at the fulcrum of the alliance. At the fulcrum of the NDA is the BJP, जो अपने बलबूते पे 303 लाने की क्षमता रखती है. At the fulcrum of the dot alliance is Congress, which today has been reduced to a party which gets barely 40-50 seats. इनके पास ना तो एक कैंपेन मैनेजर है, ना तो एक पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी है, ना तो एक इकोनॉमिक कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम है. All that they have by way of a binding glue is their visceral hatred for Narendra Modi. And if after getting thrashed in Madhya Pradesh...
Okay. I want to go across to Ghanshyam Tiwari as well, but Mr. Chaudhary wants to respond. Mr. Chaudhary, it's not just Sanju Verma or others in the BJP. There are those who decided to take this fight with the Congress to its logical end, like Mamata Banerjee, who say, "Aapke to bas ki 40 se upar seatein nahi hai."
Exactly.
Now, that is a different question. Let me just come to one 10 seconds I will take other way. You have seen the film The Three Idiots, wherein Amir Khan was always doing all is well, all is well, all is well. Modi ji is saying iski 370. The fear is palpable in the Bharatiya Janata Party camp. The opposition camp, wherever we can, at least in 400 seats, the opposition camp has consolidated. We are facing problems. Christian, we are facing problems in around 100-150 seats. That is acceptable. Look at the wonderful alliances that we are sticking up in Maharashtra and No, in Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, we are wonderful.
Sir, Uttar Pradesh में, sir, एक second, Maharashtra, Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary is a divided house in itself. Look at the number of problems multiplying for the Mahavikas Aghadi. NCP split into two, Shiv Sena split into two. You're saying there's wonderful coming together of all the three parties. Ghanshyam Tiwari ji, you know, he's talking about Uttar Pradesh. So far, we don't know whether or not the proposal being put out by Samajwadi Party is okay with the Congress Party. We don't know what is coming out of the seat sharing between the two parties. How is all well? Mr. Tiwari.
Good evening, Christian, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. Does any one of your viewers know what does NDA, how many parties are there in NDA today? How many parties or sub-parties are there in NDA today? Nobody knows. Because NDA is not NDA, it is NSA. It is Narendra Surrender Alliance. You surrender when gun of CB, IT, etc. is put on your head. That is why Ajit Pawar will surrender. That is why Nitish Kumar will surrender. When Hemant Soren will not surrender, he will be put in jail.
But Mr. Tiwari, that's what Sanju Verma is saying. She's saying at the fulcrum of NDA is the BJP, and the BJP itself is confident of 370 seats.
I'm coming to that. If BJP was confident of 370 seats, then why would they be using drones to fire at farmers? Why? Have we seen in 70 years of independent India?
Okay, and to that I have a follow-up question. Either you or Kamruzaman Chaudhary can respond. Mr. Tiwari, since we've moved on to the farmers issue, which I didn't want to bring in as far as this debate is concerned. Mr. Tiwari, hold on. Legally arriving at an MSP guarantee is one of the main demands of the farmers. Now, the Congress party says will implement, the Swaminathan report with the formula of C2 plus 50%. Why did they not do it when they were in power?
I will complete my point before you come in. In February 2014 and in April 2014, election after election rallies, Mr. Modi said MSP will be given. You can look at the speech. I can quote Times of India. I can quote Narendra Modi Twitter. Forget that. The point is that if BJP was so strong about 370 or whatever number, when they said अब की बार 400 पार, I felt that 700 किसानों की शहादत हुई थी पहले किसान आंदोलन में, अब ये 400 किसानों की बात कर रहे हैं. But maybe they are talking about seats. If they are so strong on that, then why would they break parties after parties? Second, somebody said that that somebody cannot walk 4 kilometers. 700 farmers died 20 kilometers away from where the Prime Minister was. He has not taken a flight to Manipur.
Stop lying on national television.
Courage of the Prime Minister is visible. I did not interrupt. Please respect the viewers. Please respect the viewers. You think farmers are Khalistani? Farmers think you are Khalistani. You think farmers are Khalistani? Farmers think you are Khalistani. So don't disrespect the farmers.
No, let's not take it down that road. Forget everything else. Ghanshyam Tiwari, a legal solution on the MSP is not going to happen before 2024 elections. Why is this happening right ahead of elections then?
Was the Prime Minister talking about illegal?
Legal guarantee कैसे लाएंगे sir legally?
No, why not?
How is it going to happen right away?
Was the Prime Minister talking about illegal things in February 2014 or April 2014, or was he saying illegal things when he said that farmer income will be doubled? Illegal is when you use drones to fire farmers. Illegal is when you amass 10,122 crores as election funding and you cannot tell, your spokesperson cannot tell where that money is coming from.
I'm not going to let this debate digress. I'm going to let others in as well. But before that, since this is a pointed question at Kamruzaman Chaudhary, I also want to quote from 2010, the Congress reply in Rajya Sabha, Mr. Chaudhary. The recommendation has not been accepted by the government because MSP is recommended by Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices based on objective criteria and considering variety of relevant factors. Hence, prescribing an increase of at least 50% on cost may distort the market. Why did the Congress not do it? Why is it today supporting the farmers? It should have done it back when it was in power.
Christian, the basic point out here is that your research team is very much myopic in its approach and what Congress party did for the farmers. First and foremost, let me clarify on your channel. MSP guarantee through law is not the guaranteed procurement by the government. That is a headline. That has to be a headline. When you read out the Swaminathan report, there are 10 more suggestions, but you pick point on one MSP, Swaminathan. because the Congress has given the crop insurance, it has given the multi-crop, the loan waivers. There are numerous points that Congress has already implemented from the Swaminathan
Committee.
Okay.
To respond now.
But the
All right.
MSP remains.
I'm running out of time. I also want the others to come in. Mr. Sameer Chaugankar, you've not opened up your statements as yet. Sanju, I'll quickly let him come in and then I'll come to you if time permits. Mr. Sameer. Sir, आवाज आ रही है? Can you hear me, Mr. Chaugankar?
Hello. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, go ahead. What do you make of this? Because there are several issues that are being spoken of. You know, the BJP says that the farmers' issues, of course, is being raised by the Congress party. Congress और अन्य विपक्ष के अब जो players हैं वो आके इसमें समर्थन दे रहे हैं farmers का, किसानों का, क्योंकि ये 2024 के इलेक्शन से लिंक्ड है, सिर्फ पॉलिटिकल माइलेज के लिए. आपकी क्या राय है सर?
देखिए, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है कि किसानों का जो आंदोलन हो रहा है उसके अंदर पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज इन्वॉल्व है और वो चाहती है कि 2024 के चुनाव में किसी भी तरह से प्रधानमंत्री मोदी को तीसरी बार सरकार बनाने से रोका जाए. लेकिन देश की जनता और ये देश के ज्यादातर किसान इस बात को जानते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने किसानों के लिए कितना काम किया है. प्रधानमंत्री मोदी बहुत स्पष्ट कह चुके थे और आप तो जो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जो भाषण दिया है आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी का जो राष्ट्रीय परिषद की बैठक के बाद समापन में जो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का भाषण था उसमें उन्होंने किसानों का जिक्र किया, महिलाओं का जिक्र किया और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी तो कहते हैं कि उनके लिए सिर्फ 4 जातियां हैं जिसमें महिला है, युवा है, किसान और गरीब है. प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने 10 साल के अंदर जितना किसानों के लिए किया है, क्या मनमोहन सिंह की सरकार जो 2004 से 2014 तक सत्ता में थी 10 साल में उतना काम किया? देश के किसान और देश के अर्थशास्त्री 10 साल के मनमोहन सिंह के कार्यकाल को देख ले और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के 2014 से 2024 से.
तो आप कह रहे एक लास्ट एफर्ट है to unseat the BJP. Another bid, Professor Anwar Pasha, to unseat the BJP before the 2024 elections, because clearly, you know, several controversies, including the Bharat Ratna controversy, the Ram Mandir controversy, has not turned out in the favor of the opposition. Your thoughts, Mr. Pasha? I need to quickly wrap up after that.
Yeah, I'm thankful to you that you have given me a chance in the last, I don't know how much time you are going
Apologies,
to
sir,
allot
go ahead.
me. This is not fair at all. I protest against this attitude of your channel. That's why we boycott your channel.
Sir, you have uninterrupted time. Please go ahead.
Let me speak. Today's speech of our honorable Prime Minister is just jumla bazi and nothing else. He was addressing the workers of BJP. It was a National Council meeting of BJP workers and members. He was addressing it. And it was just gesture to boost the morale of their workers. But it shows how disappointed is BJP today. Even their workers are not satisfied. Their morale is not high. So these gestures are there to raise the morale, boost the morale of their worker and nothing else. See the condition of the nation. South, as far as South India is concerned, BJP is almost wiped out from there. You can see what is the scenario there.
Sir, I'm not going to go to the North-South debate now, and time unfortunately is not permitting me the same. You know, we've seen the government come out to give out 10-year figures of how the economy performed under the UPA rule, how the economy was faring the last 10 years. We've seen the inflation figures. We've seen figures of jobs, etc. as well. There are questions that need to be answered. The Prime Minister says, though the focus is not on Rajniti, the third term is not important for the BJP to come back to power. He needs to work towards a Viksit Bharat. Let's see whether or not, the BJP is able to fulfill its promise. If and when that happens, the INDA, of course, is currently in a tough spot given the kind of, the kind of problems and challenges it continues to face at a very basic level as well. Many thanks, gentlemen, and Sanju Verma for joining us this evening on the News Hour at 9. We need to head into a quick break with that.
The News Hour Special Edition.